I'm in my living room, going to use a ceiling fan. One of the things that I'm going to work on is I like to find ways that I can practice in off season, and hopefully I can encourage you too. I'm going to practice a service motion. Of course, I like to use you like to use the right grip, service grip, a good continental grip. But what I want to do is I want to practice both right-handed, and then I also want to practice left-handed. A lot of times I just practice with the edge of the racket. I'll practice both right-handed and left-handed. I could do maybe I could do a you could do a few just right-handed, and the idea is just to practice with the edge of the racket, okay? And so you're practicing your serve and you're practicing with the edge of the racket. Just take your time. You don't want to be breaking anything, especially glass. I don't think it'd make your wife or your mom very happy, or if you were in the living room and you're breaking the ceiling fan. And so I practice with the old wood racket. So I can practice right-handed with the edge, and I'm focused on hitting the edge. Now I'm practicing left-handed, and I'm trying to hit with the edge of the racket, okay? And so that's one way I like to start young kids, so when they're playing, is like to, have them have fun by hitting the ball with the edge of the racket. And they get a blast out of doing that. Sometimes I'll just have them hit with some kind of rod or stick, and a broomstick, and they can hit that ball over, and they're amazed, and it's just a fun thing to do. I have them throw tennis balls, and then I'll have them hit with some kind of stick or rod, a broom handle, something like that to be able to hit the ball. And right now I'm just practicing with the edge, so then I'll have the kids practice hitting the edge of the fence with their rackets. So I practice right-handed and left-handed. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to do a little exercise that, and I want to keep it simple. I get a lot of times on YouTube, you get some instruction, it's really complicated. And I like to keep things simple. This is one way of practice. I'm going to practice with the edge of the racket this way. And then I'm going to open it up more. I'm going to practice opening up the racket. So I'm going to open it up this way. And then I'm going to hit the other side of the edge. I get this edge, and then I'm going to turn the other side. And so I got edge here. I open my racket this way. And next time that towel comes around that I have a ceiling fan, I'm going to do the other one. And by the way, I put some towels. They're real light towels. They're not really towels, but I'm not sure what I would call them. But blankets, and they're real light, so I can put it in the ceiling fan, and they're not going to cause any problem with the ceiling fan. They're real light. So I'm going to use the edge of the racket first, and so I use the edge. Goes around once. Then I open my racket like this, and then I just push. And now the next time it comes around, I'm going to use the opposite edge, and then I'm going to finish on that side. So I use a chopping motion, okay? Open my racket, then I use the other side, the other edge. And so I got one edge open, and then the other edge. And so it's just something I like to practice. And I like to do this both right-handed and left-handed. I feel like if you're going to do anything, that one of the ways to protect your arm from getting hurt or from you getting hurt in tennis is that you learn how to use both sides of your body. So use the right hand, left-handed, and two hands if necessary. I often teach when I'm teaching. I'll teach them right-handed, I'll teach them left-handed, and I'll also teach them two-handed. I'd like to have them use all the options, and therefore, and I like them use them both, play right-handed and left-handed, and that way they get used to using both sides of the body, and unless I believe, okay, not sure it's proven, but it makes a whole lot of sense, is that it prevents my body from getting hurt, because I'm using both sides of my body. I'm working both sides of my body, creating strength. And I do notice that when people lose a limb, they use the ability they lose something, it's amazing how they can adapt. And so if you were to lose the ability with your right hand, it's amazing how you could just learn how to do things with your left arm, okay? And so I want to encourage both sides. I like to tell the kids, I like to teach them ambidextrous. Ambi meaning, two, and dexterous meaning hand. And so it's just one way of practicing. I hope this is helpful. This is the way I practice at home. It's off season. I don't have the ability to move down to Florida or the warm climate, and so I had to find creative ways to practice at home. And one of the things that we have is it's amazing the opportunity we have these days to be able to practice. I mean, we can go indoors if you can afford it. You can practice at home. You can watch videos. It's amazing what resources that we have available that perhaps we didn't have before for lessons. I hope this is helpful. I like to keep things simple, okay? You know, the KISS principle, keep it simple. And sometimes I get really frustrated because it's not simple, and I like to keep it simple, stupid. And maybe I add another S to it, K-I-S-S, instead of just K-I-S. And so I like to keep it simple, and otherwise it feels like, man, this is too difficult for me. And so this is a simple exercise I do. I do both right-handed, okay, on the edge. I open my hand like this. The next one I'm going to use the other side and practice that way. And then I'm going to use my left hand. I'm going to practice a karate chop or chopping motion. I'm going to open my racket like this, this way. And then I'm going to use, instead of this edge, I use the opposite edge and get used to hitting them like both sides. So it's edge like this. It's the edge I'm going to hit with this edge. I'm going to open like this. And then I'm going to lead with this edge this way. And that way I kind of have an inside-out serve too. And so I hope this is helpful. When you're serving, it's like a karate chop motion, like here. Okay, you're in, and when you're serving, you're not really putting the ball over your head, but you're trying to hit more on the side. And it's just a great way of practicing your service motion. So I have other ideas. I like to keep it simple. And so I just hope this was helpful.